Hackerstream, baby. Woo, doggy. People love this stuff, Jim. I'm all in a row. Look, I got the nuts, I got the coffee, I got the drinks. Dude, I'm just trying to. We're knocking these out. We're giving the people what they want, Jim. This is what they want.
Let's go.
They want a chatbot.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is Uncle Jim, 21. All jokes aside,
what's up, guys?
I've had too much coffee and caffeine today, but this guy can't have enough of it because he's been building CASCDR. Uncle Jim, tell people who you are. Tell people what CASCDR is.
What's up, guys? I'm Jim. Go by the name Uncle Jim 21. I'm working on a project called CASCDR. It stemmed from a project I worked with some of the other guys at Pleb Lab at TabConf on. We won one of the awards there for a new NIP that we made that's specifically for a API marketplace.
Patriot.
Yeah, and so we made an open framework that lets you discover API services, value, how much they cost, what exactly they do, and then consume them out of band on HTTP, so it preserves your privacy, and you can pay for them in sats. And so we started with that, and then I started thinking on how can I take this thing to another level? Like how can I make this even better? And I decided to make this thing called CASCDR, and it's this site that lets you individually consume L402s, but also combine them in unique ways. And so I built a bunch of logic apps. If you're familiar with like Azure logic apps, or Node-RED is like one of the original logic apps that allows you to combine services together. So like this is a very simple example. Like you feed in a description of what you want. You can be very lazy with it, and then it'll come out with like a really kick-ass generative AI prompt, and then you'll get something even higher quality than you normally would. This keeps asking me for my money because I'm on a private browser. It's a different thing, but this is like a YouTube transcription. I have other ones where like it can look at a picture and then tell you how much it's worth in sats, so you can sell all your belongings for Bitcoin in preparation for the Great Bull Run. And so I started with this. I started making it very modular and making it so you could connect things. But then, I decided that.
Where did you get the idea from? Like where?
I'm not sure. I was just thinking about, how do you? Everyone talks about agents, and they sounds really cool, right? But I don't think people are approaching it from a fundamentals perspective enough. They're just kind of going off and fantasizing about how great an agent would be. And I think to do that, you need modules. You figure out how things can be connected, and then how they should be connected ideally over time. And then you'll be able to build more autonomous agents based on that. And the more modules you'll have, the more flexible things will be. And so I started noodling on how that works and how I would accomplish that. And I came pretty far, but I was realizing that I was kind of going a little too much into the theoretical, and I do want to ground our project in more market-facing applications. So I think one of the last streams I talked about how we built this YouTube agent that you plug in a YouTube URL, and it'll spit out a summary or an article about the thing that you spit in based on the transcript.
Game changer. I'm just like from my side, like the podcaster side and the content creator side, that's a game changer, by the way.
Yeah. And so, the use cases for me are, it's like too long didn't read, too long didn't watch. It's like I can vet content pretty fast and figure out if I want to consume it. I found people on, I've just been plugging these in on Stacker News and just seeing what the feedback was like. And people have been saying, it's useful because unless I really know somebody, I'm not going to just like take their word for it and just take the video that they sent me and watch the whole thing, especially if it's long. So this kind of helps you vet content better and manage your time and kind of manage your information diet better. That's kind of a side effect. I was also it's good that you like it, because I was thinking about people like you that are making tons of content, don't always have the most time to put all the care you would need to like take great notes on like every little thing, every little detail you talked about. So this is like your assistant. It'll summarize the things you talked about and help you create context of the summary. If you want to use that as a helper to write an article, or if you want it to write like a skeleton article, and maybe it'll have some structure. I'm sure you'll have to edit things, but it'll get you close enough to where you can put out more content, rank more SEO, get the word out about PlebLab and about Bitcoin more easily. So So creators has been like the focus for this. sprint of how do I make better tools for that. So then I was thinking, how can I make it even better? Another way would be give it, instead of you having to go in and plug in these things, what if it just subscribed to your channel and just sent you a Nostr DM every time you made an upload, or every time somebody created content that is relevant to you. So you got to kind of stay on top of Bitcoin, since that's typically what you're talking about. And so I went ahead and volunteered you to be a tester, and I set you up with what Bitcoin did, TFTC, your page, so that when your page comes up, it'll just send you sample content. It'll send you summaries and stuff. And what I found entertaining was one of the first ones I did with what Bitcoin did was the Shinobi episode with Peter.
So good.
And then you immediately retweeted it, so it gave a pretty good summary, of a lot of these topics I know that you're passionate about, about how do we scale Bitcoin? What do we do? Where does CTV come in? Where does eCash come in? Those types of debates. And you retweeted it right away. So I was like, okay, I'm onto something.
And then this one, I necessarily probably wouldn't watch this TFTC episode, just, because I don't know these people. But what's cool about CASCDR Chatbot, so scroll down, it has all of this stuff. So now I'm like, oh, wow, they're talking about that. Oh, wait, it does this too. Oh, you know what? I am going to check it out because I know Marty's super passionate about these things. So this is going to be a good conversation. But I wouldn't have known that, scroll back up, just by looking at the title,
right?
And just by seeing those people. I wouldn't waste my time.
Yeah.
Because I think we're all kind of coming to realize here in this next bull run, it's like time is very scarce, especially as we moved into this, Bitcoin centric sats flow world, man. So keep scrolling down. This is really cool. I think for people at home who are watching this on the stream, is like, this is part is the game changer. Look, so Peter had this one. This is another one I don't know if I would watch, but like maybe I will now because they're talking about, the ETFs, and I'm very indifferent post ETF, right? Like, but this will be good. This sounds like a really good pod. Maybe I'll go and listen to. So where did you come up with this idea other than just, where did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I mentioned, I'm being more market focused and I'm focusing on a particular demographic. So I'm thinking, what can make Car's life easier? So, I'm around Car. What can make Austin's life easier? Because Austin's someone else at Pleb Lab that's putting out content. Even Nifty, she's putting out content. How can I make their lives easier? Meetup organizers and other people that are doing podcasts maybe less frequently, but they're still doing them. Yeah. And they want to be able to make a lot of content based on the few things they do, and maybe they want to look at different angles of how they could do that. This is kind of a starter kit to help you do that more easily in a time-constrained environment and just be more productive and rank your SEO higher. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're trying to get the ideas about Bitcoin out. I think a lot of us found out about Bitcoin through podcasts and through other media like this. So this is really important for moving Bitcoin forward. So
got to get the information out there. I think the really cool thing too, the other thing that I would touch on is just like, to go back to the time is scarce thing. Like, a lot of us who are founders are now having to do 7-6 jobs now. And me personally, like a year and a half ago, we had a bigger team, right? And what changed, right? Like what changed from that? It's a long bear market. AI became, now it's a lot more in the hands of people. What you're doing now, these types of micro apps, they're making a difference in our worlds. And so what used to take 3 or 4 people are now just taking 1 person because of all these types of technologies that we have. It's fascinating because it's true.
Yeah, to me, this is great because it brings the focus, I said, back to the market. It's doing something I care about. It's helping people I know. So it's keeping a tight feedback loop, and it's forcing me to stay honest and actually work on things that are adding value. And it's also giving me a repertoire. Just to build this, I had to build 4 or 5 modules, which are not currently included in the toolbox of things you can add to CASCDR, but they will be because it forced me to build them. They exist. I just need to modularize them and make them available from the workflow creator. So, really all I did was I made this interface. This it's invite only right now. Soon we'll open it up to user accounts and people can sign up. But I basically put in Car's pub key and then I can sign up. All I do is plug in different YouTube channels, so we can add Nate and Nifty's podcast channel.
Oh, you can add it right there?
Yeah, I just add it right there, and then I got to submit the change.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got to probably reload it.
So you can do this for multiple.
Crap, I fat fingered that.
So you can do this for multiple podcasts, potentially.
Yeah, it's already doing that for multiple podcasts. For you, it's already doing multiple podcasts. So we just looked at it. I was doing TFTC, Shinobi, and when you release your podcast tomorrow, I don't think you know, I've been working on this so fast. I don't think you've had a chance to try it on yours.
No, I've been interviewing top builders, so I haven't had time to do a podcast.
So when your podcast.
Well, I'm recording a podcast tomorrow. Maybe I'll release it tomorrow night. Got the Muzzman coming on.
Nice. So I called this the CASCDR hub for acquisition of data, cool. aka Chatbot, and so now I can. I'm a fat fingered it before, but and now we have the voltage.
Look at that, dude.
So pretty basic.
Full disclosure: Voltage is a sponsor of Top Builder.
Yeah. Voltage is a
totally didn't. I didn't tell him to do that.
Go sign up for Voltage right now,
dude. Voltage is legit. Yeah. And I would do it even if they weren't. Love you, Bobby. Okay, so show us something else. What else can you do with CASCDR?
Yeah, so I have numerous services and you can consume them individually. So I showed the Logic app, but like, for example, you can use ChatGPT anonymously. At least for now, they might get mad at me at some point and unperson me. But in the meantime, you can use this and eventually I'll just plug in Llama or something that's open source and just play. And that'll just be value for value. I'm not going to be spying on you. I won't even know who you are. And that's how it should be. And you get the value from the productivity gains or whatever entertainment you get from using ChatGPT, and in exchange, you pay a little bit of sats.
Okay. And then as far as like the stable diffusion stuff, the whisper stuff.
Yeah. So this one lets you stable diffusion is just like a generic term for a particular model for oh crap, I forgot to pay. It's a particular variety of text to image generation. That's all it is.
So this also takes sats too, it looks like. And you have a lot of different wallets there. Is there anything that you've learned through the I know Moritz from Albi was a mentor for Top Builder. Anything you learned there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just hearing him speak about his approach to open source development is very useful. And I think just learn. I mean, it's such an impressive product what he built and the way that he's evolving. So he started with Albi, now he's doing Bitcoin Connect. That big project, and that project is allowing you to hook up all different kinds of wallet sources from Mutiny to Nostr Wallet to connect to a bunch of other things. Now that brings with it some other challenges. We either need bolt 12, verify URL, or something like that. So anyone listening that's out there that's developing stuff like that, please help us move this fight forward. But so I learned a lot about how all that stuff works and just Moritz's overall approach. He's a very impressive person, and just in general at the Top Builder workshops are gold. I've been learning a lot. Somebody that I've known for a long time, Teresa, just getting to see like her full repertoire of skills and way she thinks about running a sustainable business is really good to see.
I think people will be surprised there. Cool, man. You ran through it really quickly. Is there anything in that specifically in Top Builder that you've gained? Because you're one of the few that is inside of PlebLab, but also participating in Top Builder. And I remember at the time you had asked me, you're like, Car, should I be in Top Builder? Like, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you already kind of get Top Builder. But I know you're a highly competitive person just in general. So like what other than competitiveness, what have you gotten out of Top Builder? Even though you're here at PlebLab every day, that you kind of experience that kind of culture already.
Yeah, I would say, I am competitive, but I also want to make things win-win. And I would say, just learning with other people that are going through similar things is very valuable. And if you're not in Top Builder, you're not at PlebLab, you should try to find either a way to get into those things or build your own community or find like-minded people that can help push you and challenge you, but also, collaborate with you and be supportive. And I try to be that for other people. So just from that standpoint, just the discussion and also just looking at what people are building, where's the puck going, where's the industry moving, and also, the skills that they have, just being able to ping them. They're all in the Slack channel. So if I have a question, of how they did something or how they thought through something, I can find that. We're peers, so we're exchanging notes, and I'm competitive to a point, to the internal competition of pushing myself to be all I can be, but it's at the end of the day, my success isn't someone else's failure, and vice versa. It's all win-win. At the end of the day, Bitcoin's our equity.
Yeah, I also think too, there's something about building in the open, and I've kind of seen this. There's like two different ways, and I've seen the people that build behind the scenes in stealth mode and don't really tell anybody anything what they're doing, and then they just come out and they launch something, and it's a surprise to everybody, but they happen to be on all the biggest podcasts, and to me, that's always a red flag. And I don't know if it's just maybe the adversarial part of me, but it always just surprises me whenever I see that happen time and time again. And I think you actually do more bad than good there by doing it in like closed things. I think there's a way to build in a closed stealth way, but still also show and, and kind of give people a sense of what you're building, and they're working alongside of you as you build this thing up. But I have seen that happen here the past, like, I don't know, 24 months. I've kind of seen that happen more, I would say more recently here in the bear market. You're kind of seeing that. And I get it. Everybody's trying to turn it into a business and stuff. But to me, I've always just, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's tough for me because I come from a background where it's like you're actually under NDA, so you're not even allowed to build in the open, right? A lot of I've worked for Fortune 500s and other spaces. I have done more open source in the last few years. I think there's obviously there's some disadvantages to it, right? Because it's out in the open. Somebody can fork you at any time, but it keeps you honest. It keeps you ethical. You can't put spyware or do anything messed up. I really respect that people have really taken on to and enforced Satoshi's example that he essentially set for us. I think up to that point, what Linux would probably be the only other example of like a really massively successful open source one. I'm sure there are people in the comments that will probably correct me, but those are the two. Linux and Bitcoin are like the ones that are the massively successful ones. I get why people want to keep certain things to themselves, because if it's out in the open, then that could close the gap. If you're going to invent something new, maybe you want a little bit of a head start at least. So I get that part, but I also get your skepticism. I think the reason to be skeptical is when it's handling money directly or handling, comms directly. Are they spying on you? Are they playing games how are they really saving your private keys? I get that skepticism. There's some things where I get, it's like, okay, that doesn't really have to be open source. An example would be like a calendar app that I saw that somebody made with Bitcoin. It's like, I get why you wouldn't want to make it open source. It's pros and cons.
Yeah,
that's what any businessman would tell you.
Yeah, just something I've noticed in the space. Just there's different types of builders. Ones that build in stealth mode and quiet mode. There's people that build in the open, and I've just come to see that the people that are open and build in the open tend to have much more popular and sustaining products. I've noticed. I could be wrong, but that's what I've seen. Okay, take us back to the homepage real quick.
You want to go back to the Chad page or the homepage?
Homepage.
Logic app?
Yeah. So to the average person that's looking at this, what are they looking at here? I know you have like a thing going on here.
Yeah, so it's just a workflow. So you've seen these before. Have you ever used Zapier? If you've ever played with, I used to play with like blocks that were kind of like this, where I wasn't even software. It'd just be like in like puzzles and stuff, where like you hook this thing up to that thing and then it does that. Right. So it's really just Lego blocks. And so in this case, it's, this is a YouTube scraper that basically pulls the YouTube video. So you can use this independently. You can get a YouTube link without actually going to the site. So without them spying on you, you can dump it in here and then actually download it if you want to. So that's what this one does by itself. But this one then forwards it. It strips out just the audio, not the video, and then lets you transcribe it and then move forward. And so that's one very basic example. It's only 2 steps, but I could imagine how you could do things like take this and run it through text to like have an LLM make a text to image about the content and do it 10 times in 10 different ways. And now you have different like cover art you can make. That's just one example. There's tons of other examples. Like really what the way I think about this stuff is there's data acquisition. So that'd be like getting the YouTube video. There's data processing, which would be stripping out the audio, just the audio, and then transcribing it. And then there's data storage, right? So if you combine those three things competently, then you can do a lot of really interesting things that you weren't able to do before. And as you said, building out in the open, having all these open endpoints, are basically open sourcing the creativity of the entire world to this stuff. And I think that's going to be powerful. I still have some work to do, sharpen my pencil on making this even better. But that's my goal, is to take a lot of these building blocks that I had to make to build these user-facing applications and then open source them so people can do whatever they want with them. And I can see, what their creative minds can give to the world, and I think that's in the long run why we in Bitcoin win, is because we're able to share code. Yeah, we're able to share code. We're able to just build faster because we're not like siloed trying to like hoard, trade secrets and rent seek all day.
Is there, do you think we'll ever get to a point where you can start combining some of these in a way where I'll be able to, if I want to, but you know what I mean? Do I make it sense?
Yeah, if you want to just compose them yourself.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. So I have a prototype that does that. It's not ready for prime time. I took emphasis away from that for the last couple sprints because I wanted to focus on users a little more.
Okay.
And that required to make more building blocks, which means every time I make a new building block, the possibilities are exponential because they connect, because the things you can connect them to are the same, but there's more of them. It's just an exponential curve. So I probably build 4 or 5 things like that. New modules that I'll then put into this, and then I'll I already have figured out how to connect them and check for compatibility, and then almost like compile it like it's a program to make sure that it's all legal and it fits together nicely, and then maps together, and then eventually hope to get to the point where an LLM or an AI system could look at it and be like, yeah, you want to do X, Y, or Z and get to point W, sure, here are the 3 ways you could do it, pick one, and then it'll just do it. Is
there a revenue model here as far as like how do you plan on making revenue with CASCDR, or is it just like go into that?
Yeah, right now I'm one of the few suppliers, so there's that. And I think I'll be I'll be an innovator and always be moving forward, and then also just helping broker these deals and create value for people. There's also the possibility, like I was just looking at it with the bot that I was making, just making it its own site basically, and then just I'm already in the process of doing this, setting up a user account system and a Square integration so that I can just accept fiat payments, because I don't think people want to spend their Bitcoin too much. But there'll basically be like 2 factions. Like if you want to be totally anonymous and pay with Bitcoin, you can do that. If you want to pay in fiat and give it to your grandmother or whoever, you can do that too. Like it's going to be possible to kind of to work with both types of people, and I understand and respect why people want to go one route or the other.
It's cool. That's another thing I've seen in these top builder teams is all of y'all are thinking about revenue. Like it's funny because dude, I've been doing this like 3 or 4 years already. Like that was never like a topic of conversation at the start of like creating a project. And it's funny how times have changed. Not only just in the Bitcoin space, just like in the regular entrepreneurship space. It's like, and then I think what's really cool about Bitcoin businesses is just all the sats flow that's going to be coming out of this, right? And like you put in all the work, you put in all the build into this, but what's really going to come to a head is like you just need to generate revenue, and you just bootstrap this whole thing, and it just goes into the ecosystem, and you just prove product market fit, and then it's an easier game to play than trying to, appease investors or appease other people. To me, it's a no-brainer, but we'll see how it plays out. I think adding the fiat rails is definitely appeasing one side of the market, but we'll see. We'll see what people choose. I've seen personally, just here us doing it here at Pleb Lab, like we implemented ZapRight. Now people want to pay us in Bitcoin, but I was wrong. I thought people would want to pay us in fiat, but actually more people are paying us in Bitcoin. So we'll see.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. What else? Okay, so let's just type into Top Builder stuff. What have you? Anything else you've learned out of Top Builder? Anything that you've? Any one key thing that you would say to other people that are thinking about joining next time we do it?
I would say definitely come and do it. I would say if you can, come to Pleb Lab, because that's, my opinion, even better. They're both great, but being here in person just gives it another feel, and it just gives you the ability. We've all gotten addicted to remote work, but I think there is something to be said for the serendipity of, I happen to be overhearing somebody talking about something that I might be interested in. I can enter the conversation and learn something new just from that, or I could bounce an idea off someone and walk away with 3 more ideas. That's a lot of how I come up with things for CASCDR is, I go talk to other people in the lab. I go talk to Topher, I talk to Carr, I talk to Austin, I talk to Keon, and they'll tell me, that's a great idea, but what if you tweaked it this way? Or they'll give me an idea I would have never thought of by myself. And I don't think that happens as much in remote work. It can happen, but I think you really have to engineer that in your life if you're remote. Whereas if you're here, it just happens naturally.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's the collisions, right? That collisions book you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we're gonna see a lot of people coming in here. Okay, I guess so. Where do people want to check this out, Jim? Where do they go? CASCDR.Vercel.app. So the YouTube agent is live. The Chad bot, I'm still tweaking, but it should be live in the next day or so. And then it's on Start 9 too, or? Yeah, I also, so I'm in the middle of the competition, so I haven't had time to really buckle down and get that out there. But I made a prototype. It works. I just need to get it through their approval process and kind of sync up with them, because they're probably swamped too. They probably get tons of applications. So I've been in contact with those guys. I'll be submitting it, and then you'll be able to just run your own service provider, basically rent out your API keys for ChatGPT, and then basically obfuscate all of their data collection on everyone. And eventually we'll get off of them entirely, and we'll just use open source. This is what we do at Pleb Lab, ladies and gentlemen. We get the people together and we get them building. That's what we do. Love doing this. This is what I want to do. So much fun, Jim. If you want to have even more fun, come to Startup Day. It's happening March 14th during SATSPY, the hottest, coolest time in Texas. SATSPY. We're going to be doing some amazing stuff at the Bitcoin Commons, our neighbors, our dear friends. And come join us. He might be a part of the top 5. You never know. Jim, what happens if you're a part of the top 5? Are you expecting to win the whole thing? I'm always expecting to win. Stay humble, bro. I was a high level wrestler. You can't go and expect or lose. You gotta go in expecting it. Just take everyone. You can come meet Uncle Jim. You can come check out CASCDR. But if you're interested, come to Startup Day, South by Southwest. That's when we'll be doing it. But it's March 14th. We have tickets available now. Come meet all these people and come hang out at the lab. All right. I'm disappointed you didn't bring up my world-class thespian stuff. What was that? You want to talk about it? Code Monster. Oh, the Code Monster. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's the Code Monster. Yeah. All right. I'll see y'all later. See ya.